Cop plants drugs in black man's car. Has no idea he's the FBI director. Imagine the everyday scenario of being pulled over by a police officer during a routine traffic stop. It's a situation many people have experienced. Just a quick check, a few questions, and then you're back on your way. But what if that simple encounter turned into something much more sinister? What if, instead of a routine check, it became a setup designed to destroy your life? Today, we're going to explore a shocking and unbelievable story that challenges our perceptions of justice and law enforcement. It all begins with a black man who was pulled over for a minor traffic violation, perhaps a broken taillight or a speeding ticket. Nothing unusual at first glance, but what happened next would change everything. Instead of a normal interaction, the officer involved in the stop decided to plant illegal drugs in the man's vehicle. The man was caught completely off guard, confused, frightened, and unsure of what to do. The situation seemed straightforward. He was accused of a crime he didn't commit. But beneath the surface, there was a deeper, more complex story at play. Unbeknownst to the officer, he was actually interacting with someone who was not just a regular law enforcement agent, but the FBI director himself, an undercover operation designed to expose misconduct within the police force. The FBI director had gone undercover in plain clothes, blending into the scene to test the integrity of officers and to uncover potential corruption or abuse of power. The officer, unaware of the true identity of the person he was arresting, played right into the trap, planting drugs without realizing who he was dealing with. This story raises numerous questions about the integrity of law enforcement, the use of deception, and the systems in place that are supposed to protect citizens from abuse. It also highlights the dangerous reality that sometimes those who are supposed to uphold justice may themselves be involved in misconduct, or, at the very least, be manipulated into it. The fact that the officer had no idea he was interacting with the FBI director makes this story even more astonishing. It's a reminder of how undercover operations can reveal uncomfortable truths about those tasked with enforcing the law. It also emphasizes the importance of accountability, transparency, and the constant need to scrutinize authority figures to ensure they serve justice rather than undermine it. As we delve deeper into this story, we'll uncover how such undercover investigations are carried out, the motives behind them, and the implications for the community and the justice system as a whole. What seems like a simple traffic stop turns out to be a complex web of deception, power, and hidden identities. Stay with us as we reveal the full story behind this incredible incident that challenges our understanding of law enforcement and justice in today's world. The incident began on an ordinary day with the man driving along a familiar street when suddenly, flashing lights appeared behind him. He was pulled over by a police officer for what seemed like a minor traffic violation, perhaps a broken taillight, speeding, or an expired registration, something that happens to many drivers every day. At first, he complied calmly, rolling down his window and providing his license and registration. The officer approached with a stern but routine demeanor, asking standard questions. However, what was supposed to be a simple traffic stop quickly took a darker turn. As the officer inspected the vehicle, he requested to search the car, citing suspicion of illegal activity. The man, feeling nervous but cooperative, consented. That's when things started to go awry. The officer, under the pretense of suspicion, found what appeared to be illegal substances, drugs, hidden in the vehicle. The scene became tense almost instantly. The man's face reflected shock and confusion. He was stunned. How could this be happening? He knew he was innocent, but the evidence seemed overwhelming. The officer placed him under arrest, reading him his rights, and took him into custody. What the man didn't realize at the time was that the drugs had been planted, deliberately, as part of a setup. The entire scene was orchestrated to make it look like he was involved in illegal activity, but in reality, those drugs were not his. As the story unfolds, it's revealed that this was no ordinary police operation. The man's panic and fear were genuine, but the circumstances were manipulated. The evidence against him was fabricated, a carefully staged trap designed to falsely incriminate him. The shock of the moment was compounded by feelings of betrayal and helplessness. He was unsure of what to do next, feeling overwhelmed by the unfairness of the situation. The police seemed confident, authoritative, and in control. But beneath that veneer, a deeper deception was at play. This was not just a routine traffic stop, it was a carefully planned operation targeting an innocent man. The scene was tense. Sirens blaring. Officers surrounding the vehicle. The man sitting handcuffed, trying to process what had just happened. He couldn't understand why he was targeted or who could be behind such a malicious scheme. Little did he know that the person behind this setup was someone with a high authority, someone in the system who was supposed to uphold justice. As the narrative continues, the story reveals how this incident was part of a larger undercover investigation, exposing corruption and misconduct within law enforcement. But at this moment, all he knew was that he was caught in a trap, falsely accused and helpless. The moment marked a turning point, not only for him but also for revealing the darker side of policing and the lengths some go to conceal wrongdoing. The truth behind this incident would soon come to light, but for now he was left to grapple with the shock, confusion, and fear of an unjust situation that had just unfolded before his eyes. What makes this story even more astonishing is the revelation that the person the officer believed he was arresting was not an ordinary civilian or suspect, but the FBI director himself, hidden in plain sight. The FBI director had gone undercover, adopting a different identity to carry out a covert operation aimed at testing the honesty and professionalism of law enforcement officers in the field. Undercover agents often operate in disguise, using false identities, wigs, makeup, and other disguises to blend seamlessly into their surroundings. In this case, the FBI director was dressed in plain clothes, blending into the environment, intentionally avoiding any identification that might reveal his true position. His goal was to observe how officers handled real-world situations, whether they followed protocol, exercised judgment, and maintained integrity under pressure. This operation was part of a broader effort to root out misconduct, corruption, and abuse within law enforcement agencies. The idea was simple but powerful. Put officers in realistic scenarios, observe their reactions, and identify those who might be prone to misconduct or abuse of power. Little did the officer know that he was interacting with one of the highest-ranking officials in the entire country, someone at the very top of national law enforcement. The FBI director's disguise was meticulous. He used a false name, a different appearance, and a cover story designed to keep his true identity hidden. Cameras and surveillance equipment were discreetly monitoring the entire operation, capturing every move for later review. This undercover mission was a carefully orchestrated test, an investigative tool designed to ensure accountability and to expose any officers who might be willing to bend or break the rules. The fact that the officer was unaware of the true identity of the person he was arresting adds a layer of complexity and intrigue to the story. It underscores how undercover operations can reveal uncomfortable truths about the behavior of law enforcement officers when they think no one is watching. This method of leadership and oversight is crucial in promoting transparency and integrity within the system. The revelation that the individual in custody was actually the FBI director himself is a startling twist, highlighting the lengths to which authorities will go to safeguard justice and root out corruption. It also raises questions about the importance of oversight and the potential for abuse when trust is misplaced. The entire scenario was a test, an undercover investigation designed to uncover misconduct and to ensure that officers uphold the highest standards of integrity. As the story unfolds, we see how this covert operation not only exposed individual behavior, but also brought to light systemic issues that needed addressing. It's a powerful reminder that sometimes truth is hidden behind layers of deception, and those in positions of power are not always who they appear to be. The moment of revelation changed everything, illuminating the importance of oversight, transparency, and accountability in law enforcement. What seemed like an ordinary traffic stop was actually part of a much larger, high-stakes investigation, one that could have significant implications for justice and integrity at the highest levels. The aftermath of this extraordinary incident prompted widespread discussions and intense scrutiny across communities, legal institutions, and media outlets. Footage from courtrooms, interviews, and community gatherings painted a complex picture of the ongoing quest for justice and reform. As the legal proceedings unfolded, questions about accountability and the integrity of law enforcement agencies took center stage. The case became a catalyst for debates about systemic misconduct, racial bias, and the need for comprehensive reforms to rebuild public trust. Community members, activists, and advocates expressed outrage and disappointment, demanding greater transparency and oversight to prevent similar injustices from recurring. The incident also sparked calls for independent investigations into law enforcement practices and increased accountability for officers involved in misconduct. While the FBI director's undercover operation was ultimately aimed at exposing corruption within the system, it highlighted a deeper, more troubling issue: the pervasive mistrust many marginalized communities, especially Black Americans, feel toward law enforcement. This story underscores how systemic biases and unchecked power can undermine the very ideals of justice and equality. It also emphasizes the importance of implementing reforms that ensure officers are held accountable, that transparency is prioritized, and that community voices are heard. The incident served as a stark reminder that trust is fragile and must be actively cultivated through honest dialogue, oversight, and accountability measures. As people reflected on the events, many recognized that the fight against misconduct is ongoing and requires collective effort. This case became a symbol of the broader struggle for justice, highlighting both the potential for reform and the deep-rooted challenges that still exist. It also prompted policymakers, community leaders, and law enforcement officials to reconsider existing procedures and to explore new ways to build mutual trust and respect. The story of this undercover operation and its shocking revelations continues to resonate, reminding us that vigilance and awareness are essential in safeguarding democracy and civil rights. Ultimately, it's a call to action, urging everyone to stay informed, question authority when necessary, and advocate for a justice system rooted in fairness and integrity. Thank you for engaging with this story. If you found it eye-opening and meaningful, please like, share, and subscribe to stay updated on more in-depth stories that shed light on crucial issues affecting society today. Remember, staying vigilant and informed is the first step toward creating a more just and equitable future for all.